We all want to raise happy, healthy children, so we focus on nutrition, making sure they eat the right foods. We set up bedtime routines to help them get enough sleep. We choose the best schools, the best activities, the best everything. But something is still missing. And if you're honest with yourself, you probably feel it too. You do everything right, but your baby still struggles to settle. Your toddler still melts down over the smallest transitions. Your school-age child seems anxious or hyper. Your teenager is constantly overwhelmed or shutting down. It's not because they need stricter routines, less screen time, or another supplement. It's because we're overlooking one of the most fundamental human needs: nervous system regulation and physical connection. I'm Jenna Galarzo, a child development educator, Ayurvedic clinician, and the author of Two Hearts Massage. I spent years studying how nervous system regulation, touch, and energy healing impact child development. And today, I want to share what every parent needs to know about raising a regulated and resilient child. Until we understand how the body regulates stress and emotions, we're always going to be managing behaviors instead of preventing the dysregulation in the first place. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why kids of all ages, newborn to teenagers, and maybe even yourself, struggle with focus, meltdowns, restlessness, and emotional outbursts. More importantly, you'll know how to start fixing it today with some simple, powerful, and backed by science and Ayurveda techniques like massage, Marma pressure points, and energy hygiene. Right now, children are growing up in a world that moves faster than their bodies and minds were designed for. We expect them to sit still in school, transition between activities seamlessly, fall asleep on command, process complex emotions like little adults. But here's something most parents don't realize. Their body is speaking before their words ever do. A newborn cries but instantly calms when held because their nervous system registers safety through touch. A toddler throws a tantrum not because they're difficult, but because their body doesn't know how to process the flood of sensory input they're receiving. A 10-year-old fidgets in class not because they don't care, but because their brain is trying to wake itself up. And a teenager, they don't shut down and isolate because they don't want connection, but because their nervous system is overloaded and retreating is the only way to cope. So if all of this starts in the body, the big question is, how do we actually support our children in a way that helps them feel safe, regulated, and connected? Let's break this down into 4 key foundations, because once you understand these, you'll start seeing your child's behaviors in a completely new way. First up is the nervous system and how it's affected by connection. Regulation starts in the body. Gentle rhythmic movements, whether it's rocking a baby, rubbing a child's back, or even gentle stretching before bed, activates the vagus nerve, which signals safety and relaxation. The more a child experiences this, the stronger their ability to self-regulate becomes. If your child struggles with transitions, big emotions, or bedtime, this is the first thing to focus on, and quite simply the easiest. And here's the kicker. It doesn't just apply to babies and toddlers. Even the teenagers who seem distant or withdrawn are often just in a very dysregulated state. So what's the best way to bring in more connection? We're gonna get to that soon. Next, let's talk about oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Every time a child experiences intentional physical connection, whether it's a hug, a gentle squeeze on the hand, or even just sitting close, it releases oxytocin. This hormone literally rewires the brain for emotional security. This is huge for kids who are more anxious, independent, or seem distant. The best part, it really doesn't take much. Small, consistent moments of connection throughout the day make the biggest difference. And what if your child resists physical touch? Don't worry, we're gonna cover the solutions for that too. Third, movement. Kids don't just process emotions through words. They process them through play and movement. That's why a toddler runs in circles when they're excited, or why a teen paces when they're upset. When we build small, consistent movement rituals into their daily life, like bedtime routines, stretching together, or just playful movement, we help our kids develop self-awareness without them even realizing it. And here's something to think about. If your kid is constantly fidgeting, bouncing their leg, or has trouble sitting still, their body is already telling you what it needs. The question is, are you listening? And finally, let's talk about energy. This is where Ayurveda comes in. Every child is born with a unique prakriti or constitution. Some kids, like the Vata types, the monkeys as I call them, are naturally restless. They have fast-moving minds and bodies, always full of new ideas and boundless energy. But they also burn out easily, get overwhelmed by too much stimulation, and struggle with consistency. They thrive with warmth, grounding, and lots of physical reassurance to help them feel safe and settled. Next is the Pitta kids, the lions. They thrive on structure, goals, and independence. They're strong-willed, competitive, and naturally driven. But when out of balance, they could become irritable, overly perfectionistic, and struggle with frustration. They need cooling, playful outlets for their fire, and plenty of time to decompress. Then we have the Kapha kids, the elephants, the nurturers. They love comfort, stability, and deep, deep connections. They're naturally calmer and more easygoing, but they can become withdrawn, lethargic, or overly attached to routine when they're out of balance. They need movement, stimulation, and variety to stay engaged and emotionally flexible. Now, if this is all new to you, don't worry. In my next video, I'm breaking down each prakriti in detail with simple ways to spot your child's natural tendencies and what they need the most from you. So if you want to learn exactly how to support your child based on that, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. When we shift from focusing on behavior to focusing on how a child feels in their body, everything changes. Because when a child feels safe in their body, their mind follows. This is what my book, Two Hearts Massage, is all about. Bringing back simple rituals that help kids from newborns to teenagers and their parents too feel more regulated, connected, and balanced. And the best part is that you don't have to overhaul your entire perspective on parenting. You just start to implement small intentional shifts that create a lifelong generational impact. If you want to start making these changes today, download my daily connection guide. It's free and it'll give you a step-by-step resource that shows you exactly how to integrate simple touch rituals into your child's routine, newborns to teenagers. The link is in the descriptions, and let me know in the comments, did you grow up with daily physical connection, or is this something you're learning now as a parent? I'd love to hear your experiences.